What is up, all my kaiju friends and fans? This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room in Greater Cincinnati. And as you can tell by my introduction of the video, I am doing a video of a figure released in 2018. That is the Yuji Sakai X Plus 30 centimeter Shin Godzilla Rick Edition. It's a very, very nice figure. Nicely done by X Plus. Bravo to them as usual. They always usually do a bang up job on these figures, and this one is no exception. Without further ado, we will take a quick look at the box. Let's do that right now. Alright everybody, here it is, the box. It's a pretty big box for a 30 centimeter box. Nice picture of the figure in a double silhouette kind of there, with the smaller picture and then the bigger picture, and the background and the smaller picture in the foreground. The yellow sticker signifies the Rick X Plus Garage Toy Japanese 30 centimeter Godzilla 2016. I do like the artwork on these Yuji Sakai figures. It's pretty nicely done, I think. Pretty cool boxes. Really cool. Do like how they put the figure on the box too, just to let you know what you're getting before you actually open it. So gives you a little sneak peek, so to speak. All right, we will move on to the actual figure right now. And here he is, folks, the X Plus 30 centimeter Yuji Sakai Shin Godzilla 2016 from the 2016 film Shin Godzilla. It was all the rage in Japan when it was released here in my area. Anyway, it was only in the theater for like a day or two, and I wasn't able to make it to see it, which was a shame. So I had to wait for it to come out on video. And actually, when it got released on digital, I bought it, I believe, on my Xbox, and that's where it is still to this day. It's a digital high definition of this movie. And as far as the movie goes, I like the movie. I know it is a love-hate movie for a lot of Godzilla fans. I've seen many people in the group say, I love the movie, and many people in the group say, I don't get it, I don't like it, you know. But I personally love it. It was a different take on Godzilla, driving him in a different direction, of course. And with his evolving forms in the film, he had 3 forms that we seen in the movie, prevalent forms in the film. It's just crazy that how he was ever evolving, and then some of the stuff they said in the movie about him being able to possibly sprout wings and fly. I mean, that's just crazy to think Godzilla actually flying with wings. I mean, we've seen him fly in 1971. He flew to Cachedora, which was totally awesome. But just to think that he would sprout wings and fly, that's pretty crazy thought. But the story, it's just like a reboot. It doesn't have any links to any former Godzillas, but it does tie into the original, in the fact that this creature fed off the radiation from a nuclear dump in the water, and that's where he manifested and grew, and then he went on from there. And of course, in the movie, they couldn't stop him in any kind of way. He was pretty much impenetrable until I think the United States military dropped a big bomb on his back, and it blew off one of his dorsal plates, and that really enraged Shin Godzilla, and that's when he unleashed hell on Japan and his super atomic breath, which was a gigantic wall of fire and flame coming out of his mouth, and it hyper intensified into that laser, which was cutting buildings in half. And he was shooting that laser intensely out of his mouth, and then he was shooting it was coming out of the tip of his tail in the film. It's a really unique take on it. And then when the final battle, he was even shooting lasers out of his dorsal plates, out of his back. So it was a very interesting take on Godzilla, and I can see why some people were kind of turned away or a little dismayed by it. But I personally did like it, and to me, he looks like a well done brisket. I mean, his skin and everything. It looks like he's been horribly burned and mangled, and just he's went through some pain, and he starts paying it back in the film to the people that caused this on him, which is humanity. So it still does, to me, have some of the origin stories of the original Godzilla in it, and some of the anguish that he puts on the people of the Japan and possibly the world. And then at the end of the movie, to me, it's the really ultimate cliffhanger I've ever seen in a movie, when they freeze him, but it's only supposed to last for X amount of time, and that's how it ended. He was frozen, and then I think since then they said that they would not continue that story, which is really sad to me personally. I would like to see what would have went on with this, if he evolved anymore or what have you. It would have been cool. As far as this figure is concerned, of course, we got an X Plus figure, so details are really magnificent on it, as par for X Plus. The tail goes down, touches, well, we have a tail stand. Of course, almost every Sakai release, they have a little vinyl tail stand. So the tail goes down, hits the tail stand. Then the tail pretty much goes straight up and slightly to his right. So the shelf space isn't that bad, but the height-wise, like on my shelves, I have to be careful if I remove him from the shelf. When I lift him, I have to twist his feet toward me to lower his tail to bring it out, or it'll catch onto the shelf above it, because his tail is just so high. But his tail is nicely done. Nice sculpting of the skin on it, all the way up and down. Has nice black with red. Of course, that was his color in the movie, black with the red highlights. Of course, on the end of the tail there's this signature Shin Godzilla second face / head growing. You can see the nice detail and definition on it. But like I said, the skin tone looks like a burnt brisket to me. It's just really horrifying looking and scary looking. I mean, to me, Shin Godzilla is one of the scariest looking Godzillas ever. But his tail is very, very long, just like in the film. His spikes on his tail are really small. They get bigger as they come, of course. And then his tail is pretty big and fat as it gets to the base of where it connects to his body. And then on his back, very nice rows of dorsal plates. Very nicely done. Of course, this is the Rick, which has the translucent vinyl, the red vinyl, and I can see with my lights, you can see right through it. I can see my finger through there, actually, the shadowing of my finger and everything right through the red vinyl on it. That is prevalent all over all the red on this Shin Godzilla is the translucent vinyl. It makes it pretty cool. I know some people have lit them up before, and I imagine that's really cool to do. Make all the red on him would light up. So really cool. If you had it blinking, it'd be like he'd be a blinking reactor. That would be cool. But all his dorsal plates are all really nicely done. The red inner and the black outer, just like the rest of his body. He's prevalently red and black. So, but nicely done. Of course, we got nice sculpting on the legs, on both legs. It's hideous sculpted skin. Like I said, it's very nasty and dark looking. All nice sculpting in the midsection. Of course, he has the big fat thighs, which Shin Godzilla has. Nicely done sculpting of the rendition of his skin tone and texture from the CGI Godzilla. Of course, this was not a suit Godzilla. This was the first one where they never used any suit. But he's nicely done nonetheless, as far as they captured his essence from the film. His feet are nice and big, and he's got 4 toes, and his toenails stick way up. They don't even touch the ground. They're protruding out and kind of up. They are all the bone gray in color, and then he has all these little white spikes on his feet, all over, kind of on top. They were on the Shin Godzilla in the movie. Of course, his hands are curled up like that, like Shin Godzilla is in the film, and he has 4 claws on his hands and nice claws, same color as the toenails, the bonish white color, lightish gray almost. Of course, on his chest here, the nice breastplate that sticks out, breastbone / breastplate that sticks out is there, nicely done, just like his final form in the film. It's really a cool looking, gruesome looking figure too, because he looks like a nightmare. And of course, we get up to his head here. He is a nightmare, a walking nightmare in my opinion. This Godzilla is a very spooky and scary looking Godzilla. Of course, his head is nice and narrow. Neck's pretty long, nice and narrow, nice sculpting on the neck and the head. As far as his skin tone and texture, very hideous looking, very burnt looking throughout his whole body, just like he looked in the film. But I think they captured his head very good. To me, this is the quintessential version of Shin Godzilla that X Plus has done as far as accuracy to what he looked like in the film. I believe there's some stylization in the gigantic, which is nothing wrong with that. It's really cool, and this is superior to the 25 centimeter, but I do have the 25 and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a really good figure as well. But his head is nicely done. He almost looks like he has a grin on his face, like he caught the canary. But his eyes are a pupil is the eyes are white with a single black dot pupil. Very menacing and creepy looking, really, actually, if you look at it really close, because he almost has dead eyes, but he has a pupil. It's just crazy. And then of course we get to his teeth, which are all crazy, all over different directions, and just growing out of the side of his gums, some of them, and not actually down in the mouth. It's just hideous looking, and they are all individually sculpted and they look really nice, his teeth. Like I said, this to me is the quintessential version of Shin Godzilla that X Plus has done. If I would say you want the most accurate to the film, I would point at this one, in my view, that this is the one to have if you're looking for accuracy to the film, which was of course a CGI Godzilla. But this is a nicely done figure, and I am glad I ordered it, and it came out last year, and it's a very, very, very good rendition of the creature Shin Godzilla from the movie. And I love the way X Plus does these things. I love all my Shin Godzilla figures, but I would say this is the quintessential in comparison to the film. I'll move on to some quick size comparisons, and we'll do that right now. Alright, here is the Yuji Sakai Godzilla 1954 with my Shin Godzilla Yuji Sakai, both X Plus, both really nicely done. This Shin Godzilla was the biggest Sakai, I think, as far as height, until recently, in the 30 centimeters. Alright, we'll go on to another size comparison right now. Alright everybody, here's my X Plus 30 centimeter Godzilla 1975. Of course you can see he is taller, but the Sakais are generally shorter anyway, so kind of makes sense. The last of the Showa era and the last of Toho's current era Godzillas. Alright, we'll do one final size comparison right now. Alright everybody, here is the Yuji Sakai Godzilla 1995, Burning Godzilla, affectionately known as. Of course you can see it is now reigns as the tallest, biggest Sakai 30 centimeter Godzilla in the series, because it's shockingly bigger than any of the other ones. So maybe that in the future they'll all be true 30 centimeter instead of the smaller versions. Who knows? With the announcement of the Sakai 84 coming early next year, maybe he will size up with this guy and we will know that. But it was shocking how large this figure is compared to the rest of the line. All right, I'll move on to some quick closing comments on this and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, I'm back, and my closing commentary on this. It's a great figure. It's the best version to the movie of all the Shin Godzillas we've gotten from X Plus, in my view. And I would recommend getting it, but I know that it's probably ridiculously priced now in the aftermarket. I don't even hazard to guess what it is on eBay. It's probably crazy. So, but it is a nice figure. This is another good reason of reissues, why they need to do reissues here, and this is a great example of reissue that needs to be done so that people can have a chance to grab these things, because it is the best rendition of the Shin Godzilla that X Plus has done, as far as to the movie anyway. To the movie, it's the most accurate. I love my gigantic though, but he has stylization to him, and hopefully soon I'll be doing a video on it. I'm waiting on a larger spinner. He won't set on this spinner, but I think he'll set on the one that I've got coming. I have one made, so hopefully he'll fit on that one. But if you can afford this one, I would recommend it, especially if you want something close to the movie. All right, I will bring the camera closer here for a close-up of this figure. I want to thank everybody for their time and attention, and me and Shin Godzilla and Dogzilla. We'll talk to everyone later. You all have a nice day.